Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's a very cold Wednesday morning. This is the second video I've made today, because even though it's cold, it's as good a day as any to be a 2-video day. I've already done a video over on my other channel, Michelle Walks, about Roberta Laundrie's letter that she gave to Brian Laundrie. So go over to my second channel, Michelle Walks, and check that out. If you've been following the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case, that's an interesting development. I know a lot of other people have covered it, but I wanted to give my 2 penneth, and I've done that over on Michelle Walks. If you're not aware that I have a second channel, yes I do. So hop over there and subscribe. If you enjoy my videos on this channel, then you'll definitely enjoy them on Michelle Walks. Alright, so what I'm going to talk about in this video is the Nicola Bulley case, but specifically the response to the police investigation. But before we get into that, I just want to give a couple of quick announcements, information, whatever you want to call it. So firstly, for those of you who enjoy Crime Story Sunday over on Michelle Walks, I've not done a Crime Story Sunday for, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months. It's a long time. But one time only, there will be a Crime Story Sunday, this Sunday. It will premiere at 8 PM UK time, and that's going to be about the Bryn Hargreaves case. So I do hope that you will go and check that out. Secondly, I'm going to do a members live. So if you're a member of this channel, do look out for that. I'm going to do that soon, sometime this week, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. I've not decided yet. Okay, let's get into this one. So this is in the BBC, and this is regarding the police investigation of the Nicola Bulley case. It's important to review the Nicola Bulley case, says Police Crime Commissioner. A police boss said it was important to review a force's handling of the Nicola Bulley case to understand how the narrative got so out of control. And that's specifically what I want to focus on. How did the police's message about this case get so twisted? Because I get lots of comments in my comment section saying the police were incompetent, they kept changing their mind, they kept giving conflicting stories, and I mustn't have been listening to the same press conferences as you, because for me, the police were incredibly consistent every single time. They said, we believe Nicola is in the river. But every single time they said, we are still looking for more information. We are keeping an open mind. Of course, they've got to keep an open mind. Even if they believe she's in the river, they've still got to explore tips. They've got to explore potential ways out of that area, just in case she wasn't in the river. It was such a consistent narrative. People were saying to me that they were sick of hearing it, that they do these press conferences or media updates and they're saying the same thing. They were, because that was their belief. That was the line they were taking, and it turned out to be the right one. But how did it get so out of control? And I've got some thoughts on that. But let's carry on with this article just for the time being. The disappearance of the mother of 2 sparked a major search operation, but it also attracted dozens of amateur social media sleuths to travel to the area. Lancashire's Police and Crime Commissioner Andrew Snowden has ordered a review of the police investigation. He said he hoped lessons can be learnt from the tragic case. Miss Bulley, 45, disappeared while walking her dog by the river in St Michael's-on-Wyre after dropping her daughters, aged 6 and 9, at school. The major search operation got underway, but it was 23 days before her body was found in the river 1 mile away from where she was last seen. We are bringing in the College of Policing to look at the case and provide that assurance for the public about how, on a case where the police theory around what had happened has been proven to be correct all the way along, did the narrative go so national and international and get out of control? How did the police lose control of that narrative around what was actually happening on the ground? It was lost that we were searching for a missing mother, missing partner, missing sister, Mr. Snowden told BBC Lancashire. That got lost in the narrative in what became almost like a social media pylon, in parts around who could be the next best detective to come up with all of these different increasing theories. A lot of them had absolutely no basis in any reason or fact. The investigation into Miss Bulley's disappearance attracted widespread speculation as well as criticism of the police response. Lancashire police came under fire after revealing Miss Bulley's struggles with alcohol and perimenopause 3 weeks after she vanished. That I do not agree with. I've said this before. I do not agree with the police releasing that information. There is an investigation into it, so why they chose to release that information perhaps may at some point in the future become clearer. There was apparently threats to expose Nicola, do an expose about this information. Maybe the police were trying to get in front of that by releasing it, which would be understandable, I guess, and her family were aware of it, so maybe there was method in that madness, I don't know. But Mr. Snowden said the vast majority of people that he's spoken to think the police did a good job against all the difficult circumstances. I don't think that this has brought a collapse in confidence of policing, he said. At the end of the day, the police were right all along. It was a narrative that was lost, not the actual police investigation. The review by the College of Policing will focus on the investigation and search, communication and public engagement, and the releasing of personal information. It's important that we do a review and learn lessons not just for Lancashire, but for national policing as well, he said. How do the police maintain control of the narrative when everybody wants to fill airtime and column inches, in particular, what became a sensational story? A separate investigation by the Independent Office for Police Conduct is also underway into the police visit of Miss Bulley's home weeks before her disappearance. I can give you some tips here, College of Policing. You see, the thing with crime in the UK is that it doesn't normally get so big on social media. I'm not entirely familiar with what goes on TikTok, so I'm not even going to try and talk about that, even though in Nicola's case, it's the TikTokers who've come under particular scrutiny. But I do know a lot of what goes on YouTube, obviously. This channel is over 2 years old now, so I've been doing true crime content on almost a daily basis for over 2 years. And I cover the big cases. I also try to cover smaller cases, a wide range of smaller cases. They don't get viewed, those videos. People are going to come at me and say, "Oh, Michelle, it's all about views and all about money for you." No, it isn't. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how people consume content in the true crime genre. Now, there are a small number of true crime channels that get hundreds of thousands of views, regardless of what case they cover. Right? And I could give you a list of maybe 5 or 6 YouTubers who get massive amount of views, regardless of the case. But for the average YouTuber, the smaller channels like myself, a smaller case doesn't get traction at all in the YouTube algorithm. Why not? Because people don't click on it. And if people don't click on it, the YouTube algorithm just very quickly forgets about it. So social media content is controlled by the people who consume that content. The YouTube algorithm only learns from what people, real people, the audience, do in interactions with the content that's put out there. When I say the smaller cases that I cover, no one watches them, or there's certain cases that people just won't come to my channel for. Like the Alec Murdoch case has been huge throughout the trial, but my Alec Murdoch videos have got a fraction of the views of others, and it's because people don't come to my channel for that particular case, and that's fine. But if we take my channel as a microcosm of what's going on globally on YouTube, then we hit the same issue. That there are a few cases that get huge on social media. A couple of days ago, I talked about the missing white woman syndrome. I call it the damsel in distress syndrome, right? But it seems to be that blonde-haired, blue-eyed women and girls get more attention when they go missing or when there's a murder. And once that algorithm has picked up on, oh, this video is getting watched, this video is getting clicked on, and it's getting watched, then it boosts it in the algorithm. And then as more people view that content, then creators will pick up on it because they want those views as well, right? So it becomes a snowball effect. And especially when a case gets big on the mainstream platforms, then that brings in people who don't normally view YouTube, who don't normally view cases on social media. It brings them in to find more information, which then creates more subscribers, more views for channels like mine. I'm just a microcosm of what's going on globally. Now, UK cases do not get the attention generally that US cases do. If you think about big cases that have been covered on YouTube over the last, let's say the last 2 years, while I've been running my channel, right, we've had Summer Wells got big on YouTube, not that big in the mainstream media, but it got big on YouTube and it attracted international attention when Don and Candice Wells went on Dr. Phil. Gabby Petito was huge, absolutely huge. Probably less so now, you know, less people are covering the civil case that's going on, less people have got interest in that. But when Gabby was missing and then she was found and she'd been murdered and then Brian Laundrie disappeared and there was this massive search of Carlton Reserve, everybody was on that case. It was huge. Right. Gabby Petito actually was trending on Twitter last night, I noticed, because of the letter from Roberta Laundrie. Kylie Rodney got huge. The Idaho 4 case has got huge. And then you've got Nicola Bulley. I'm as surprised as anybody as to why Nicola's case got so big. Because it's a UK case. Because I'm used to covering cases in the UK and knowing full well that they're not going to be that popular. The disappearance and then the discovery of Katie Kenyon's body from my county, Lancashire. I covered that case while Katie was missing, when she was found, and I did an update after the trial of her killer. My Katie Kenyon playlist has had a tiny fraction of the views that Nicola Bulley case has got. It's the same county, a woman that went missing. It's interesting because Katie's got blonde hair as well, but I think because her body was found quickly and they knew who her killer was, like quickly, and they arrested him, then it probably didn't have the time to pick up that traction that the YouTube algorithm needs. You know, I could speculate that if Katie's body hadn't have been found, maybe it would have picked up that traction. There's the Olivia Pratt-Korbel case that I've been covering. This is the little 9-year-old girl from Merseyside, and her murder was only 28 miles away from where I live. Different county. I live in the county of Lancashire. I'm only a mile away from the Greater Manchester border, but I'm also close to the Merseyside border as well. So I'm in kind of a position where I'm in one county, but very close to 2 others. So Olivia's case was investigated by Merseyside police, and it was a bizarre story. Absolutely heartbreaking story. A little 9-year-old girl shot in her own home as a gunman burst in. Shocking. But the case, yes, it's had national attention in the UK, but I've always said if this case was a US case, it would have got huge. But it didn't. It didn't on YouTube. And look at these views. This is from the last couple of days because it's the trial. The trial is going on as we speak of Thomas Cashman, who's her accused killer. And look at this, the Evening Standard, 373 views in 2 days. Man accused of murder to stand trial. And then the trial started. Daily Mail, 217 views in the last day. 1.2k views, The Independent. 5 News, 2.3k views. This is heartbreaking details about what happened at Olivia's killer's trial. It was found out yesterday that Olivia's last words, heartbreakingly, were "I'm scared," as the gunman burst in and then she was shot. It's terrifying. The trial of Thomas Cashman, charged with the murder of Olivia Pratt-Korbel, GB News, that got so big, covering Nicola Bulley. How many views were they getting when they had Peter Falding on? spouting nonsense about Nicola Bulley. Huge. But 1.2k views. This is a bit better. 7.3k views from the Mirror. 11k views is the top news from Sky News. A 9-year-old girl. Why is her case not everywhere? So I was surprised that Nicola Bulley's case really took off on social media, on TikTok and YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And I think it took the police completely by surprise. I don't think police constabularies in the UK know how to deal with that level of popularity because they've never had to deal with it before. Superintendent Rebecca Smith, who was leading the investigation, said in her 29 years of police service she has never seen anything like this before. And I think that's the learning point, that whatever the police say, if the case gets big and out of control, they will lose that narrative. They will. And I think in the US, because there's more experience with cases getting really big, perhaps their PR teams, their media people, perhaps have an understanding about what to do if that case gets big. Perhaps that's something that all police forces need to be aware of. I don't think Lancashire Police did anything wrong. I really don't. They kept their narrative very clear and very consistent. It was social media and the mainstream media were just as bad, who wanted to keep the story going and either intentionally or not spread a whole range of nonsense theories and believed so-called experts in what they were saying rather than choosing what the police were saying, which turned out to be right, that Nicola was in the river. We've seen recently the very comparable case from Greater Manchester, about 30 miles from where I live, in Boothstown. On Saturday, just a few days ago, the body of Peter Baglin was found. He'd gone missing on the 28th of December, a month before Nicola, and his case got a fraction of the attention. But once some attention came, the police went out and did another search and found him. But they hadn't found him before. So the fact that Nicola Bulley wasn't found for 23 days isn't unusual when it's involving water. I could rhyme off case after case after case. Now, what people are doing still is trying to say that Nicola Bulley's case is foul play, when it isn't. It isn't, guys. And I've got a lot of comments, actually, in the last few days about a missing man, 71-year-old man called Derek Clayton. And I had a strange comment that I didn't understand over on Michelle Walks about somebody mentioning Derek Clayton and saying something about it was too hot to handle. I don't understand why, because there's very little information about this missing man. Very little information. I think people have picked up on this one because it's a few miles away from where Nicola Bulley disappeared. Derek went missing from Cleveleys, which is near Blackpool, a sprawling town a little bit, Thornton and Cleveleys. And then St Michael's on Wyre is over here. So it's a few miles away. Right? It's about 15, 16 miles away. And Derek's been missing since early October of last year. So he's been missing a long time. He was last seen on the South Promenade. The Blackpool Gazette has covered this case a little bit, and this is from when he first went missing, but there's very little information. So it's good that people have picked up on Derek Clayton's case and teamed it with Nicola Bulley's case, so it gives his case a little bit of airtime. But obviously it's not good if they're trying to incorporate the disappearance of Derek Clayton in with some kind of foul play against Nicola Bulley, because there's no evidence of foul play in Derek Clayton's case, just like there's no sign of foul play in Nicola Bulley's case. But anyway, new CCTV image released of missing Poulton-le-Fylde man Derek Clayton as urgent search continues. It was last seen in the South Promenade area of Cleveleys near Ellerbeck Road. Officers urged motorists to check their dashcam footage if they drove along Cleveleys Promenade between Queen Promenade and Victoria Road West from 6 p.m. on October the 3rd until 10 a.m. on October the 4th, We're urgently asking people to check any CCTV, doorbell footage and desk cams for footage which may help us locate Derek. So that's the tweet from Lancashire Police. If you've got any information, call 101 quoting log 0211 of October 4th. So exactly the same information that they were giving out when Nicola was missing. So Derek is about 5'6". He's got grey hair and he's 71. And he was last seen here on South Promenade, so right near the sea, and that's Elibet Road, which is just a residential street. I'm wondering whether he fell over this wall. I'm wondering whether he fell in the sea when it was high tide. Don't know. But it's good that Derek Clayton's name's getting out here. Not so good if they're saying that Nicola Bulley case is in some way connected. But very near the sea. The sea comes right up to the wall here in high tide in Cleveley's. My step-grandparents used to live in Cleveley's, so I know this area. And yeah, the Irish Sea is fierce. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I've been Michelle. Hope you're well. I'll see you in the next video. It's goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. Bye, guys.